Okay, I have to start this over again because I did try to do a live from YouTube directly, but apparently my audio didn't work. Anyway, we're going to dive into part 3 of this. Trying to find a way to get the lighting. Ugh, I guess I should turn the other way. Anyway, trying to assess. Hold on. There we go. That's better. Anyway, part 3 of the cyberbully series, and this is really the series is based on this book, Business Cyberbullies and How to Fight Back, and we're going to dive into the psychology. And I had interviewed Dr. Michael Nuccitelli from New York, and he's a New York State licensed psychologist and certified forensic consultant with a doctoral degree in clinical psychology. He is a cyberbullying, internet safety, cybercrime, online predator, forensic psychology educator and investigator. So if you are in the New York area, he's your guy. If you are being cyberbullied or whatever, he's your resource. I believe his website is ipredator.org. So check him out. He talks about all this stuff. I interviewed him also on my Locker Room for Growth podcast, which is in the playlist here on YouTube. And so he describes the iPredator as a group, a person, or a nation who directly or indirectly engages in exploitation, victimization, coercion, stalking, theft, or disparagement of others. Now, this is kind of timely, right? Just saying. Anyway, the bully offender usually knows the target. The assailant believes from what he or she is doing to the target. Let me rephrase that. I can't read. He benefits from what he does to that target. So they might have a past relationship, and but there's murky lines. So cyber harassment, cyberbullying. Now there are each state, each province, and each country has certain laws where some of these behaviors fall into, and they may not necessarily say the same thing. There's libel, slander, harassment laws in Canada, and in the US it might be something different, but there are certain laws that fall under the guidelines. Dr. Nuccitelli also believes that all criminal, deviant pathology, all of it, has to be reprofiled. And he is very strong about working on this. He's kind of like a trendsetter. He brought this stuff out in the open with his iPredator posts, and follow him on the socials and all his channels to learn more about this, because he is the guy that talks a lot about this behavior, usually pertaining to kids. But let's face it, these kids grow up, they are bullies. We're seeing them every day online in every facet of what we do, whether it's the workplace, at home, it doesn't matter. So he kind of lays out what they do, or like their actions, their tactics. And I also had posted something from Brian Martin, who was the International Director of Whistleblowers Australia. And Brian Martin says there are 5 things that cyberbullies do. One is cover up the deed. They are nice to your face, but talk trash to your back. They denigrate the target, so their intention is to discredit. If the target tries to fight back or argue, that bully uses that against them and as proof of why their behavior was necessary. And 3, reinterpret what happened. So they could be retelling hearsay and deny their intent to malign. They might laugh it off and tell others they were just kidding. They'll use official channels to give the appearance of justice. And the last, they intimidate opponents. So the bully will threaten reprisal if the bully tries to fight back. So types of actions that the bullies take. You could be accused of a scam. You could be accused of being a ripoff. You could be accused of being a fraud. And Dr. Nuccitelli has listed, you may have more of them now on his website, but at the time that I did this book, he had 38 cyberbullying tactics. And so he looks at the online bully as a person, a group, or a nation who directly or indirectly engages in exploitation, victimization, coercion, stalking, theft, or disparagement of others using information and communications technology. They're driven by deviant fantasy, power and control, retribution, religious fanaticism, political reprisal, psychiatric illness, distorted perceptions, peer acceptance, or personal and financial gain. So I think this is really important to know about this stuff, because this is what we are seeing. Say what it is. This is what it is that we are seeing. And I don't have to expand on that, right? We kind of read the news and stuff. So anyways, these are the cyberbullying tactics. I'm not going to go through all of them because some of them are pretty obvious. And we know, when I say it, like sextortion, you know what that is. So exclusion is one, where the eye predator targets a person's need to feel accepted and be part of the social construct. Flaming is an online passionate argument that frequently includes profane and vulgar language in a public environment, such as discussion boards, groups, and chat rooms. Exposure is a public display of and posting or forwarding of sensitive or sexual personal communications, images, and video. So his definition of cyber harassment is the assailant sends hurtful, frequent, and serious messages that are worded in a severe and persistent and persuasive manner that is negative and frequent. We kind of know what phishing is by opening up our DMs on some platforms and, seeing some of the comments in our feeds where, somebody tries to catfish you and get you to respond, "Oh, I'm interested in getting to know you," or the hi, in your DMs. Those are usually phishing scams. And they're trying to trick and persuade, get you to, eventually they might engage you for quite a while, but the bottom line is they're going to ask you for your personal and financial information. Denigration, the assailant sends posts, publishes cruel rumors, gossip, untrue statements in order to humiliate and disparage the target. Mobile device sharing, device images sharing, pornographic or graphic pictures are sent to everyone in the address book. So that would be where probably revenge porn falls under. And there's other areas where it might fall under that as well. There's interactive gaming harassment, where the bully uses verbal abuse, threatening, and profane language, locks others out of games, passes false information about others, and hacks into accounts. Porn and marketing list insertion. The iPredator assigns the target up to numerous junk marketing or pornographic sites for emails and instant message lists. A target can receive hundreds, even thousands of messages a day. And I have a friend where this happened. It was a former girlfriend that did this to him, and he got like 1,000 messages. I don't know whether, can't remember whether he said it was, that was a day or a week. He had to literally cancel his phone because it was just so bad. So cyber stalking is very dangerous. And what it is it includes threats of harm, intimidation, and offensive comments, but with a threat or belief of an offline threat. So, we'll talk about showing up at your door. Griefing the cyberbully habitually and chronically causes frustration by not following the rules of an interactive online video game and intentionally disrupts the immersion of another player in their gameplay. So yeah, that would be very frustrating. So password theft, lockout, I would say that ransomware falls under that. We have voting and polling booth degradation in existing and online polling, voting sites, or a newly created website. A poll will be posted to allow others to vote for categories that will be highly embarrassing and depreciating to the targets. The iPredator encourages groups to disparage a target. And then bash boards, or negative and depreciating information that is posted in online bulletin boards. Hoodwinking. This is similar to phishing, where the target is tricked to divulge information, then gets published in a negative way rather than the way that was expected when the perpetrator sought for the information. So it's sort of related, I guess, because last year I used to get a few of these in my texts on my phone, where a company you're familiar with or might have interacted with in the past contacts you as if there's finally a job opening for you, and they ask you to send their resume, and usually through text, and then they'll have an online link where you send it. It looks so legit. They'll have a name of a person with the company and their position, and sometimes you can even go online and double check to see if that person exists. Sometimes they are a real person, so you're thinking, well, maybe it's legit, but most of the time it's not. So this can be very dangerous as well, because you could be forwarding information like your you shouldn't have your social insurance number on your resume, but you'll have information that can be used to, for identity theft, to do a lot of things, to put a credit card in your name. A lot of things can happen from your resume. So be wary of these kinds of things that show up in your text. And I haven't had many lately, but I had a few of them last year. Almost got sucked into one too, because they look really legit. Happy slapping. This integrates video and bullying, where the target is attacked or embarrassed in person. The moment is videotaped, then spread online virally. Text war and attacks, malicious code dissemination. That's a hacking program, and where it's disguised as a link. Well, that's how everybody gets hacked usually. And also you can bring in ransomware that way. So vet your links. If you take your mouse and when you get an email, just if you just hover your mouse over, don't like click on it, hover it, it'll show the email address at the bottom of your screen where you can see whether that is a legit, like the first part is a legit email. You can usually tell if it's not right. And then if you're not sure, go to Google, type in that email address to see if it's legit, or just ask Google if it's legit. Malicious code dissemination. I think I just said that. Warning wars. False allegations are sent to a target's ISP about their posting inappropriate information, often enough to get their account suspended. So, yeah, that's scary as hell. Pseudonym stealth. This is where the perpetrator is online when they might appear offline. Their identity is secret when they're using messaging services, and this could be done through a fake account. So those ones you can, and you can check these on Dr. Nuccitelli's site, ipredator.org. Cyberbullying by proxy, where the assailant encourages or persuades others to engage in depreciating and harassing the target. Digital piracy inclusion. The iPredator encourages the target to engage in digital piracy, such as illegal reproduction and distribution of copyrighted material. Then he or she reports it to authorities. Tragedy news mirroring is where the assailant threatens the target that they will plan and engage in a violent activity directed at their school or community. We know what slut shaming is. Cyber threats he describes as passive-aggressive strategy of provoking fear by informing the target he or she is in danger from an unknown assailant. We kind of know what trolling is. Sextortion, Twitter pooping, and I guess, besides Twitter, we can see it in maybe Blue. I don't really see a lot of this in Blue Sky, but maybe Threads. The cyberbully uses tweets to disparage and humiliate the target. Microvisual cyberbullying is a Vine-like clip. Now, if you remember Vine, dating myself a little, they were like 8-second video clips that were very popular. And anyway, they're very short videos where they're sent to traumatize the target. So I didn't read all of them. There's quite a few, and he's probably added more on his website, Dr. Nuccitelli. So check it out. And so I wanted to kind of go through what some of these tactics were, because they're important to know when you see them. So one of the things that these guys live for is engagement. So if you see a troll, if you see these, it just drives me crazy sometimes when I see a viral feed. And I've got a couple of TikTok where it's so out of control, the comment section, where you cannot possibly, you can't possibly like go through and moderate it, because there's so many. And their arguments back and forth. I mean, some of them are fun to watch because they get shot down, but still, the fact that these online bullies are being engaged is, it just keeps feeding them. They just keep coming back and well, but this. So you see it all the time. So if you don't engage them, if they're really bad, you could just ignore them, and then the conversation won't go any further. But if they're really bad, if they really go and target, like cross that line where they're so personally insulting to you, then you can block and delete. But I mean, let's face it, if it's your social feed, you control it. You decide who comes into your space. So if someone is spreading trash, block, delete them. If it's a friend or family, block, delete them. you control your space. So you can either have a positive space and a positive environment and invite, interesting people to your feed, or you can sometimes the trash takes out itself, as they say, but yeah, you don't really have to put up with that crap. But sometimes these are tactics that sometimes go too far. I have a cyberbully. He does a few of these things where, you can't really control other people's behaviors. You can just exist in spite of them. And yeah, which is kind of the reason I did this book, is because of the cyberbully. So I guess, he's good for something. But anyway, we'll go through some more things on how to combat and fight back and take control of your internet space, because you can't just shut your computer off and hope that it goes away, because it's still there whether you see it or not. So if you like this video, if you like my content, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.